So to the parents, teachers, senior students, and all our guests today, good morning. We at Jaffery Academy Mombasa welcome you to today's webinar on the topic Artificial Intelligence in Education. My name is Mwanaidi Omar, Head of School Nursery, and I will be your moderator in today's session. We are excited and looking forward to spending the next 1.5 hours with you. Thank you for taking the time to attend this webinar. I am sure most of us have heard of artificial intelligence. Today, we are going to look at several areas. What is artificial intelligence? What is its impact in education? These are some of the questions we might be asking ourselves. So to take us through this very important topic is none other than our keynote speaker, Dr. Zohraida Karim. This is our second webinar, and we appreciate Dr. Zohraida for always being supportive and for being with us again today. We are looking forward in gaining knowledge on this important topic. Dr. Zohraida holds a PhD in early childhood education with more than 20 years of experience. She majors in psychology, brain development, and curriculum designing. She's the head of Growing Tree Preschool in Dar es Salaam, a motivational speaker, facilitator, author, mentor, and counselor. Dr. Zohraida also works closely with especially abled children. Let me take you through how we will run the session today, mentioning a few housekeeping issues. One is that the webinar is recorded. We will have an hour of presentation and half an hour for questions. When it's time for the Q&A, whenever you want to submit a question, you click on the Q&A section or the chat bubble and you can type in your questions. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome, Dr. Zohraida. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to share the knowledge that I have on AI. It's always very exciting working with you and your team. My second one, and I hope not the last one, because with the topics you always challenge me with, there's a lot I learn along the line itself. So jumping right into this, because it's always been a topic that I'm going to share a little bit of an experience as we go through this. AI has always been a topic that actually scares me a lot, to be honest. And every human has a certain amount of confidence and a certain fear hiding in them. And there was always a phase that I thought that artificial intelligence was coming and being created and designed in order to take away our jobs and take over the world and rule everything that we're so comfortable about. Humans usually like staying in their comfort zones, and stepping out of comfort zone is a huge challenge. I've always heard AI, 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 and I always looked at it as a threat. But just 2 weeks ago, I was attending a conference in Dubai, and a lot of the topics were actually revolving around STEM and AI. And the things that I saw over there, I still have the fear, but I'm quite excited as well. And I'm not saying I 100% support AI, but maybe I'm trying to accept AI and the way it's coming into the systems right now. But I'll shed a lot of light and I'll share a lot of information as we go through this. I know a lot of you will have lots of questions, because I've always had a lot of questions about AI, artificial intelligence. And I hope that at the end of this session, we all find the answers we were looking for. And if I haven't managed to answer all the questions, it's a learning platform. We will continue researching and we will revisit the topic if required, and we will continue sharing, inshallah. So Kelvin, the next slide, please. Right, so the future of artificial intelligence, the picture itself, I think, speaks a lot for itself. They say, right, that pictures and actions speak louder than words. So here we are trying to show that we're making friendship with AI. And let's see how the journey ahead goes today with this 1 hour. Next slide, please. So what exactly is artificial intelligence? The word artificial itself, we know, means it's not natural. It's something man-made. It is something that we have had to create, right? So it is an intelligence, but created artificially. And I always thought, why would humans want to be the cause of destruction for their fellow mankind. So this artificial intelligence is actually being designed and created by us human beings, right? So the study of computer systems that attempt to model and apply the intelligence of the human mind. So yes, God has blessed us with this beautiful mind, and we are using this mind of ours to try and make things easier, things more reachable, things more advanced. We're trying to keep up with the pace of the world, right? So as we go, I'll give you some very basic examples that will make you think, oh my God, we are so dependent on AI, but we never really realized it. And we use it in our daily lives without even realizing how dependent we are on this. And through preparing this presentation, I've had discussions actually with youngsters, with youth, with people my age, with people older than myself, just to understand what they think about AI and what they feel about AI. And that's why I've thought very carefully before sharing information, because they usually say if you can't convince them, you confuse them. And if you can't confuse them, you convince them. But today we're not using that norm. Today we are here to literally understand the impact that AI is causing on our lives, in the education system, what we need to take from the AI and what we need to leave aside. Okay, so AI is a branch of computer science which deals with the simulation of intelligence behavior in computers, and it's also the capability of a machine to imitate intelligent human behavior. Please note the words that we have used. It is a machine that imitates the human behavior. So every statement you will still realize that on top of AI, the human beings are still much more superior because we are designing these. We need to keep reprogramming it. We need to keep feeding it with knowledge and applications to keep it updated. So in the end, we are still in control, right? So just keep this in your mind, please. Next slide. Right, so artificial intelligence, like I said, is a branch of science which helps in machines. We find solutions to huge problems, and we're looking for solutions in a more human-like fashion. We try to create this artificial intelligence in such a way that it understands our problems and helps us look for solutions faster than usual. I'll give you a very basic example. Those of you on this platform who are around my age or older than myself or are from those 1990 eras or 1980s, we used to find so much of pleasure and happiness the day we were gifted a Collins thesaurus to look for words, to look for antonyms and synonyms and how to use a word in 5 different sentences. We used to love looking really studious and intelligent and holding the thick dictionaries and walking around it with school and looking for meanings and learning new words and using it. Today, even if I were to approach one of you of my age, younger, older as well, if I tell you, can you please tell me the meaning of a particular word? The first thing we reach out to is this. We don't think of dictionaries. We don't think of thesauruses. We reach out for this. We say, define, let's say, for instance, phobia. Define the word phobia. It tells you what it means, how to use it. It tells you the affirmative, the opposite. It tells you everything. So you and I also depend on this thing, which in today's world, we think is a phone that makes life easier for us. This itself is known as artificial intelligence. So like I said, we will be so surprised that everything we use as human beings today is also artificial intelligence. I've literally kept basic things around myself. This is a remote for the AC. Long ago, we needed to stand up to switch the AC on. Now I can sit here, control the temperature, put the AC on and off, put a timer, make it do my job for me, that even while I'm asleep, I want it to put the AC on for me, or I want it to put it off for me. What is this? Artificial intelligence. But both of these have been designed by us humans. So do not feel artificial intelligence is superior to us. But as I go by, we'll still have a lot of surprises thinking, oh my God, yes, I so much am dependent on artificial intelligence. But how much should I be using it in my life? Next slide, please. So as early as 1950s, AI was already coming into our systems, but in different ways and different platforms. So Graham Bell had made the telephone, which was already artificial intelligence, which allowed two people to communicate across different houses, different countries, and then it came into different continents. How was this possible? We moved away from writing letters, we moved away from telegrams, we got into phone calls. Slowly came the messengers, the emails. We moved away from postcards and posting letters and having the excitement of collecting stamps and going to the post office. So gradually with time, all these intelligences have taken over life, either to make things simple for us or to try and control us, right? Okay, so let's see this here. In 1950, English mathematician Allen wrote a landmark paper titled Computing Machinery and Intelligence that asks the question, can machines think? Further work came out in 1956 workshop at Dartmouth, sponsored by John. In the proposal for that workshop, he coined the phrase, a study of artificial intelligence. Now, this is 1956. So people back then already had the knowledge of what the world was going to turn into and how much we human beings would actually need to apply artificial intelligence in our daily lives, how it was going to help us, how it was going to support us. Simultaneously, these very people were also trying to balance and understand how this would take over our life and the negative impact it would have on us. There's positives and negatives to everything in life, everything. And artificial intelligence also falls under the same umbrella. And we're going to see, as I said, how to apply this, what to take from it, and what to leave from it. Next slide, please, Kelvin. Kelvin, next slide. Yeah, thanks. So 1941, the first electronic computer was designed. 1956, the term artificial intelligence was introduced. So those of us who are feeling scared, this is really new, we don't understand it, we need to learn how to keep up, the world is going too fast, our children are growing too fast, we don't understand. It is scary out there. But hey, guess what? This came in long before we even understood what artificial intelligence was. 1960, checker playing program that enabled two people to play with each other across different globes, different continents, in different manners. 1980, the quality control systems were introduced, and in 2000, the first sophisticated walking robot was made and created, very much by us humans again. When we're talking about the quality control systems, I just want to leave you with a little bit of food for thought as we go by. When we talk about humans losing jobs, we start wondering that how is artificial intelligence going to make us lose jobs? And I will be talking about this in depth, right? Third world countries are a little more luckier and blessed, I'd say, that technology hasn't been able to take over as fast as it has in other countries. But for those of you who enjoy flying, you love visiting new countries, a lot of our flights these days do land autopilot, right? I'm not trying to scare you, but it's a reality out there. I was flying British Airways, I think about 19 years ago. And when we landed, we were said, congratulations, you have landed safely through autopilot. And we were like, all of us, we held our breath thinking, oh my God, did that really happen? Had we known earlier, we wouldn't have been flying it in ease at all. We'd be praying all the prayers we probably knew by that time, right? We'd have panic attacks, some of us would have passed that as well, but we landed autopilot. That pilot who usually flew the airplane did lose his job most likely, right? But there was always someone controlling the autopilot from the office, giving it instructions, giving it directions that was very much a human being. So as we go by, we will be talking about balance as well. So these kind of control systems were introduced years before we even thought artificial intelligence is going to become such a huge thing, right? Kevin, next slide, please. So we're now going to talk about the rise of artificial intelligence And if you can look at that picture very carefully, there's still a lady over there who's controlling everything. And the artificial intelligence is trying to learn, watch, and observe from her. And then they would imply it and apply it in their lives and in their jobs. Okay, next slide, please, Kelvin. So, another little surprise that we have these 3 apps that a lot of us use today, which is also part of artificial intelligence, which makes things life easy, safe as well. Google Now, Siri, and Cortana are all intelligent digital personal assistants on various platforms, iOS, Android, and Windows as well. In short, they help find useful information when we ask for it using our voice. A lot of us are today trained to do multitasking. We want to drive, we want to think about a particular situation we've been given, we want to call, we want to talk to people. We literally are trained, our brains are tuned today to multitask. I don't remember the last time I was doing just one thing at a time. Right now I'm talking to you, I'm looking at the screen, thinking of what my next slide says, thinking of capturing my audience, I'm thinking of what other research we can still come up with. So the brain is tuned and programmed in such a way to do multiple things. Now let us just look at Siri, which is a very, very common app a lot of us depend on and use. There are times we're driving, we want to make a phone call. What do? Hey Siri, can you please call my mom? And it says, sure, calling mom. And it calls mom, and you are literally talking to your mom while you're driving very safely. And there you go. You didn't have to hold your phone in your hand. Who helped you? Siri. And Siri actually talks to you, listening to you, voice recognition, doing the commandments you give it to. Isn't artificial intelligence way beyond force of what we can even imagine? Now, we use these platforms, but we never really thought, or we never really pondered that this is all AI. For us, it was just an app, a new feature in the phone that actually made life exciting, right? But that's what I said. We depend so much on it that we really, really need to understand how to strike a balance between dependability and using it wisely as well, right? So anyhow, we use these to make phone calls, send messages, send reminders, take notes, recognize music, recitations, find great restaurants. Hey Siri, I really want to go out for dinner tonight. What restaurant would you suggest me to go? I like Indian food. It would give you multiple choices to choose from, rather than us going through the yellow pages that I used to love to look at and looking at the restaurants over there, calling and finding out if they have my food that I really enjoy, and then I go eating over there. I went to Germany last month, and as a tourist, I really wanted to visit places over there. And to my utmost surprise, when I went to the reception asking them that what are the places to visit around me, the lady at the counter over there actually handed over to me a map, a paper map. And when I started unfolding it, I'm like, it's been about 10, 12 years the last time I used a map. Do I even remember how to use a map? Can I actually locate where I am on this map? And I'm looking at it and she's like, I know it's in Germany. Let me help you. And I'm thinking to myself, if only she knew how lost I am looking at a real map in front of me after forever. And she so confidently went saying, you're here, you just need to use the blue route, which is the blue route 67L, and it's going to get you here. And there were all these coordinates of the map they were literally just coming back with the flash of my mind that, oh my God, I literally did this in grade 6 at school, and I don't remember it again. I might have revisited in grade 8, grade 10, but today, because of technology, I'm so used to using Google Maps, I didn't remember what a real map looked like. And when I was going through that thought process in my mind was, has my child actually even seen a real map? I literally started asking myself that question. The essence of true education, the excitement of actually looking at the map coordinates and finding the continent and looking at Africa and locating where Tanzania is and looking at that small speck of Dar es Salaam and saying, hey, that's where I am. That excitement of finding where you live and where you belong. I don't know if children today actually feel it. I asked one of the children I work with yesterday, I'm like, do you know how to use a dictionary? They're like, I've seen it on the library shelf, but no, I don't know how to use it. And I'm thinking, how sad is that? Well, let's see as we go ahead. Kelvin, next slide, please. So let us look at the benefits of artificial intelligence. Let's look at the good. You know, when you ask someone, do you want the good news first or the challenging and bad news first? And everyone's like, okay, look, give me the good first and then I'll deal with the bad. So let's right now look at the benefits of artificial intelligence. Okay, next slide, please, Kelvin. So we're going to talk about the advantages of AI in human life before we actually discuss it in education. So the reduction in human error, one of the biggest benefits of AI today is it significantly reduces the errors and increases the accuracy. So what happens today is if I were to type a letter or do a bit of research that I want to present, I would just hand it in on one of the AI platforms and I'd say, can you assist in editing? I would not ask it for information because I still want to feel in charge of my own work, definitely, my own research. I want to feel happy of my effort and my input. But yes, there's always errors that we make, and there's no harm in asking AI platforms to help us edit the information, right? Along the lines, AI would also give you suggestions of points that you may consider including or points that you may want to consider revising that they have seen in your work. Now, please remember, even this information, even this editing, whatever it may be, it is designed by a human mind. So as much as the human mind had, it has fed into the app, into the AI, and accordingly it is guiding you, right? So it's human knowledge through a platform that it is still working with you, okay? There's zero risk in using AI, some of the platforms. And also we use AI to do certain dangerous things for us, right? So whether it's diffusing a bomb, going to space, exploring the deepest parts of the ocean, when we want to explore outer space and we shoot out one of our antennas or we send certain of our gadgets out there, we're not really in it. We send our device with the machinery inside. It notes information for us. It takes coordinates. It sends that information across to us through our computers and our devices. Wow, did I just say computer? Did I just say device? Again, this is all artificial intelligence. Literally everything right now around us, unfortunately or fortunately, is artificial intelligence. So we don't need to go to outer space. We are devising, again, the humans, us, our brain, our capacity, our capability is devising a machinery, an item, a product to send to do our work, to make our work simplified. We cannot be out there, but we can still collect the information from out there to our convenience, to our suitability, right? When we sometimes send submarines to the bottom of the ocean to collect facts for us, not necessarily every submarine has a human being inside there. Again, it has devices. It has been programmed and trained to record certain information for us, which we require. Again, AI is doing our work for us under our commandments, but it's making our work much more easier and less risky for us. Okay? So, new inventions in practically every field, literally every field. AI is the driving force behind numerous innovations that will aid humans in resolving the majority of challenging issues. Be it with the medical field, be it with the educational field, be it with the engineering field, be it with the accounting field, any field, the engineering field. Long ago in school, we had to make 3D sketches of buildings or of monuments or of designs that we wanted to implement and create our dreams, right? Today, I can do all these graphics on a platform on my computer, or I can actually do research of what kind of material to use to make it look different. What can I use to make it look aesthetic? Everything is out there on research search engines, on the AI platforms, on my phone, on the laptop, everywhere. Again, this is designed to make things simplified for us. Again, we will discuss of how much to depend on it, but yes, it simplifies a lot of our things for us. Medical applications. So AI has made significant contributions in the field of medicine with applications ranging from diagnosis to treatment to drug discovery and clinical trials. A simple example, When it comes to cancer patients, there are smart devices that you can feed in. Again, humans are feeding in information. For instance, so-and-so patient has so-and-so stage of cancer and needs so-and-so medication given to him at so-and-so time, so-and-so date. Now, when that information is already fed in, if the doctor, human doctor, we still are in possession of our jobs, goes and just clicks on the patient name and says, oh, okay, so I need to give this much dosage, and today is when I need to administer the medicine. Right, so it has guided me as to how much medicine needs to be given. When another colleague of mine comes to take over my rota, they will just go click on the patient's name and find out, okay, so Zohra has already given the medication. She gave it at this time. It says to me that after 4 hours, I need to give it again. Done. I did not have to communicate this. I did not note it down in a diary. It was on the system, automatically generated, automatically guiding us. So the dose followed can be very specific without having risks. Again, there can be technical glitches. So these things need to be revisited, but it has simplified a lot of things for us. Pattern identification. AI can help businesses and organizations better understand customer behavior, market trends, and other important factors. For instance, right now, giving out flyers does not work as much as the social media platforms when you want to market your business. If you today go onto any AI platform and ask them, I want to gain the maximum attention of a crowd when it comes to marketing my school, it will actually give me advice of what to do, what kind of information to put, what kind of information people are looking for through search engines. Today, if someone from America is typing, okay, best preschool in Tanzania, and I want to look for a preschool that has extracurricular activities. Now, maybe not all preschools do support extracurricular activities because they're just daycares. So the Google search engine will modify the information it provides to the person searching, minimizing their time of literally opening each and every school site over there and looking for specific information. It saves time and it simplifies our searches for us as well, right? Kelvin, next slide, please. Now, let's talk about the disadvantages of artificial intelligences in human life, right? Next slide, please, Kelvin. And I know a lot of you through the process might think, okay, so is she for it or is she against it? Why is she confusing us? I'm literally trying to lay down all the facts around us available to us for us to make the final decisions for ourselves. We do have a lot of exterior pressure on us. We come under peer pressure, work pressure. We're always in a state of confusion and we're always struggling to find balance. When we come towards the end of today's session, I will still say it is up to you to make the best decision for yourself, but constantly look and search for the correct kind of guidance, not from the AI platforms alone, but from experienced people around you. Do remember, please, the people who are devising these and programming these in the end are humans. So you know that us as humans have a lot more of capacity of understanding and doing things rather than just the machinery. But in the end, I cannot impose my decisions on you. You will be the best judge for yourself. Hence, all the information I'm trying to share today is to help you decide which way to take, how much balance to apply, and how much to take in your lives, right? So talking about the disadvantages, AI is very expensive in lots of different ways. Now, when I talk about AI, it needs to operate on the latest hardware and software to stay updated and meet the latest requirements, thus making it quite costly. A very simple example that I'd like to share with all of you that I just discussed last week with my son, right? He comes home from school telling me, Mom, I think I need an upgrade on my laptop. I said, but I just got it for you about 3 years ago. He's like, yeah, but you know, with the kind of apps we use at school, I need it to have a particular MI chip. So it's a MacBook. I don't even understand what an MI chip or all of this thing means, and I need to start understanding it. And he's like, I need the latest technology to function, and it needs to have this kind of a retina display for me, and the speed has to be apt, and you know, the Wi-Fi at home also needs to support all of this. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Wi-Fi needs to support how the computer runs and opens up certain apps. And I'm like, where are we going? Right? And now when I'm having this discussion with him just last week, I'm thinking, hold on a minute. I'm talking about AI. Wi-Fi itself is artificial intelligence. It is programmed to connect us, and our life depends on the Wi-Fi systems so much that when you land in a new country, the first thing at the airport you do is you're looking for Wi-Fi. Why? Because you want to communicate with people across the world to tell them you've landed safely, or you want to ask the Wi-Fi, okay, where is my hotel located? Or you need the Wi-Fi for something really urgent. Oh my God, I had a pending job to do. I need to send it out. I need Wi-Fi. I need to report to my boss, so and so, so forth. Our life depends constantly on Wi-Fi, like it is even right now. When I was talking to Miss Mwanaidi yesterday, I said, we've got rains over here. I really hope Wi-Fi doesn't give up on me. And she's like, yes, I'm hoping for the same. We've got adverse weather connections. Inshallah, it'll all be fine. I have backup systems right over here with data on my phone to keep me going if I have to hotspot. I've set in a room that has the best Wi-Fi coverage so I don't get stuck halfway. Again, what is my life revolving around right now? Wi-Fi. What is Wi-Fi? It's artificial intelligence. It's scary, isn't it? But all this, I just realized over the past 2 weeks when I was doing all this research, thinking that I always said, no, I'm not going to depend so much on AI. And even if I did, I was not going to let it control my life. When I realized how dependent I am in the process of becoming on it, I'm now revisiting and I want to learn how to strike a balance in my life. Because I really don't want to become dependent. Now, that's my personal decision, my personal choice. That's why I said, you will make the best decision for yourself. Let's continue. AI has no creativity. It literally does only that much that's fed into it, and it is only doing as much as you ask it to do for you. So that's the biggest disadvantage. AI cannot think outside the box. There was once an employer of mine, and I always liked challenging myself. I love challenging the education system. And just to add on, Miss Mwanaidi said I'm the head of the Growing Tree Preschool. Alhamdulillah, this year, August, we opened up our primary school. So now it's the Growing Tree Pre and Primary School. And I'm always in that phase when I'm ready to challenge the education system. And I always say that inshallah, with a very strong team, we will bring a revolutionary change in the education system where I will be able to destroy the word exam. Because no paper-based result can define a human's capacity and a human's capability. And that exam really does not define our children or the world today, quite literally, right? That's a different topic for itself altogether. So now when it comes to artificial intelligence, when I was working with my employer, she's like, Zohra, I really struggle sometimes with you. And I'm like, okay, why? She's like, because you don't just think outside the box. You always challenge me to the maximum where I think you literally think out of no box at all. Where is the box? I'm like, well, do I take that as a compliment or is my job at threat? She's like, no, no, no. We need more people who push us to think differently. And I'm like, that's where I realized that, you know what, the education system needs to change. And this was about 15 years ago when my employer told me this. And that's when a group of us educators actually came together to start thinking of this. Now, when you look at AI, it's not programmed to think outside the box. It is programmed to think within certain boundaries, and it can only think as much as it can. For you as a human being, for those of you I'm talking to right now, if I were to challenge you with a problem, you wouldn't say, oh, you know what, doctor, I don't have an answer for this, and I really don't need it. You're going to think, hey, she's asked me a question. I don't know the answer. Why is it that I don't know it? I want to know it, and let me find out. Now you're going to start your research. And not always will the computers or the Google search engines have the right answers for you. You will now have to start referring to different books, to different resources, different platforms available, and those could also be human platforms. Today, when you want to find about the major cancer foundations or let's say autoimmunes or the best educational institutes, you talk to people who have past experience. For those of you who have children who are going to universities and when they want career guidance, if they are doing online exams or online career tests, In the end, the search engine and the result can confuse you because it doesn't tell you one particular area that your child can major in, or 2 or 3 or 4. It gives you 25 to 30 different opportunities. So now, did that career test actually make things easier for you, or it just confused you further? If you were to go and do this same career test with your child with the career guidance human counselor, because there is human interaction, the human being is now connecting with the child, understanding the feelings, the empathy, the focus, the interest, the limitations of the child, the fears of the child, the aspirations of the child. That career counselor will actually sideline 4 or 5 careers and say, you know what, these suit you best because I've understood you. The artificial intelligence is not connecting with you. It is just giving you solutions to what you've asked it, not solutions to your inner self. Right? That's the biggest setback of the AI today. There's no connection, and that's what we thrive on. Emotionless. Since early childhood, we have been taught that neither computers nor other machines have feelings. Exactly what I was just explaining. Humans function as a team, and team management is essential for achieving goals. Unemployment. One application of artificial intelligence is a robot which is displacing occupation and increasing unemployment. In the European countries out there, unemployment has become massive right now. The only time we might be required, those computer engineers are required again when it's programming, again, sorting glitches, AI glitches. Just last week, I was discussing this with my team when we flew for the conference to Dubai for the STEM and the AI conference. When we usually do the checkouts from the Dubai airport, we need to go through immigration where they would stamp our passports, right? This time, we just went through e-gates. There was no person at the immigration counter who had to stamp our passports, and we just boarded the flight. And when we sat over there in the flight, I turned to my colleagues. I'm like, do you realize what just happened? And they're like, what? I said, so many people over there just lost their jobs. And they're like, where? I said, at the immigration counter. We didn't have anybody who was stamping our passports anymore. We were so excited and awestruck that, hey, I just need to scan my passport and I'm done. No queues anymore, no waiting anymore. That was the advantage. But the disadvantage was those people who were working there have actually just lost their jobs. What must they be doing now? That's a question that we all really need to think about, right? We're simplifying life by taking away something very important for a lot of people out there. So AI, no ethics. Ethics and morality are important human features that can be difficult to incorporate into AI. Right? Now, we're moving into a very crucial slide. We're now going to talk about AI in the education systems. And if there are any children or youth or university children or students who have logged onto this platform, forgive me for what I'm going to say, but yes, this is an eye-opener for all of us. And let's see what I'm going to share further. Kelvin, next slide, please. Yep, next slide, please. And here are the pros and cons. Here, I've generalized it. I'm going into deeper detail in the slides that come up. So pros and cons, the pros about AI, I'm also going to discuss this later on, is precision and accuracy, which I have said. Space exploration used for mining process, can do laborious tasks, fraud detection, lacking the that's the con, lacks the emotional side, can do repetitive and time-consuming tasks, robotic pets. So there's so much of the pros and cons. But I'm not going to spend too much time on this because the slides upcoming are much, much more specific and explain things even better. Kelvin, next slide, please. So, AI applications and benefits in education industry. We have today, unfortunately, children who are specially able, and these situations are on the rise right now. Another topic for another day, but a lot of these situations when it comes to dyslexic children, autistic children, speech delay, gross motor delay, lots of delays is a lot because of their surroundings, their environment, their exposure to gadgets, the exposure that the mothers went through with all these rays around them during pregnancy, that has a lot of implication, a lot on right now on the specially able children. So to help such children, we have programs which are called IEPs, individual educational plans. And to simplify these for teachers further, there are apps which do personalized learning. Again, you feed in the problem, you talk about the child's strength, the child's areas of focus. I don't like saying a child's weakness. We don't have weaknesses. We all have areas we need to strengthen. So we talk about the child's area of focus, and the app creates everything for you. So it helps the teacher saving time on creating the plan, although the teacher has to execute it and work with the child, but the app designs the plan for you of how to work with the particular child. So that's an advantage in education. Task automation, you can just automatically tell the AI what task needs to be done when, it does it for you. Smart content creation. Today, when you go into ChatGPT, a very scary platform, I would say, a platform that I never, ever liked using. I'm still trying to understand how to really apply it. I know how to use it, but how much to apply and how to apply it into my work. So I'm not saying I don't use it. I do, but very minimal, because I'm still struggling and fighting with myself inside. Use it, don't use it. Use it, don't use it. So when it comes to smart content creation, just the other day I was telling someone, if you were to say, please help me write an essay on the solar system, it will give you 10 pages worth in less than 2 minutes. A lot of information, right? The challenge then comes how much you need to use, how you need to use, where you need to use, when you need to use. Too much information can also be confusing, but too much information can also be exciting. So we will discuss that. Adaptable access, determining classroom vulnerabilities, closing the skill gap. So all of these are basic educational advantages, right? Next slide, Kelvin. The last one I know must have intrigued a few of you when you see AI in examinations. I will touch on that. Don't worry, I will get there. Next slide, please, Kelvin. So here are the advantages of using AI in school. So if I have teachers over here, this might be something for you to take home and actually go through over the weekend. Next slide, please, Kelvin. So personalized learning. For those of us who have specially abled children, or we have children who need to have some one-on-one attention, or those who you want to push their bar up and challenge them further, and you need suggestions and help, the best ones first come from the peers who work with your children. Your colleagues can give you the best information, but getting deeper, you can get a lot of information from AI platforms. So personalized learning, adaptive learning platforms that tailored to individual student needs, personalized and optimized learning experience. Like I spoke about the cancer patient, the same way, let's say you're feeding my information, Zohraida is dyslexic and she's having difficulties in spelling words and understanding what letter comes where, and due to that she has mirror image. How can I as a teacher help her? Now you already know the problem because you are working with the child. You have fed the problem into the AI. The AI is now designed and programmed to give you choices and options of how to work with that particular child. It's going to help you plan. It's going to also help you decide how much time to spend with that child, what kind of activity you can use. It might even say, the child you're working with, are they hands-on? Are they linguistic? Are they auditory learners? So if you've not given this the information, it will ask you, you feed it in, and it gives you a beautiful plan. It is up to you to select which specific point or plan or approach will work with that student in your class. But AI platforms gives you all the information without you having to actually search in 6, 7, 8 different searching platforms. There are also a lot of IEP planners already available out there on the Google search engines, but those are generalized. They will not be specific to that student who you're working with. AI can simplify your planners by giving you solutions for that particular child in your class. This is something that is really beneficial, but in the end, like I said, you will choose what works best from that planner, okay? Early intervention. AI can identify learning gaps and challenges early on before we can even identify. So if you're working on your reporting system and it's an AI application that you're working on, so let's say you're working on the reporting system where you put the grades, it gives you the bar graph of the child, it shows you a red area, which is actually going to focus and tell you, hey, your child was doing really well, there's a bit of a drop, you need to start focusing and understanding something's going wrong here. This might be something that would miss our eye, because for us, we're working with the child in class And we feel that the child is doing extremely well. Why? The human connection. But as the computer, it is going to point out to you, even if there's just a 3% drop from last term to this term. And it may not be grades only, it could be the comments that you are also feeding into the report that will say, you know what? In term 1, you said that your child has excelled in the learning program, in the reading program, and has excelled the benchmarks. And all of a sudden in term 2, you say is meeting expectations. So that app would actually point out to you as a teacher that maybe you want to revise what's happening with the child, maybe give them a different reading platform, a different reading approach to continue further supporting the child rather than moving from exceeding expectations and dropping to meeting expectations. These are things that might miss the human eye, but the AI will not let it go. And that's what I mean by early intervention. Even when you're working with children and you might say, this child started talking when they were almost 2, and this child is 2.5 and not yet talking. What could be wrong over here? Now, when you're asking the AI platforms, it could give you multiple options. They could say that there's a speech delay. It could be genetic. It could be because girls and boys develop differently. It would give you numerous suggestions, and then you can literally understand and try to see if there's an educational learning gap, if there's a teaching gap from your side, or if it's a specially abled child. It really helps. Sometimes even with the information you gather as a teacher, that you can say this child has no eye contact, the child keeps roaming around in circles, the child gets intrigued by any moving object, what could this be? It will give you early intervention signs, or you can even say, what are the early signs of an autistic child? It will give you all the bullet points. So AI is programmed to do that for you. Individualized feedback, AI systems can provide instant feedback to students. So I know students today really rely on ChatGPT. To the extent I've seen children when they want to do university applications, they say, hey, please help me write my personal statement. I'm applying as a psych major student. What should I include? It gives you everything. Smart university officers who are receiving applications would just copy paste the same thing onto the ChatGPT platform and say, can you please verify, is this a student's work or is this your AI work? And it is so honest, it will tell you, this is the work of ChatGPT. Quite literally. So ChatGPT helps you students out there to give you information, but learn that plagiarism is a crime. It can also destruct your level of thinking and your capacity. On the contrary, when I was day before attending a meeting in my son's school and they were talking about AI, they didn't buy me 100%, but they did teach me something that yes, ChatGPT can give you information. However, take from it what is required and then assess it, understand it, and then re-explain it in your own words from what you have understood. So it's the same thing. The books that you read gives you information. You summarize it in your understanding, in your words, and then before you hand it into the teacher, there is an app literally that is called Hand It In. It will help you edit your work and give you suggestions. Now, even here, I was thinking, hey, that's my job. So the AI is taking away my job. I like editing. I like giving comments to students. I like giving them areas to think on, but the AI is doing that for me. However, when they said that you can choose to hand it in for editing, again, it highlights areas for the students where you could edit and add on information as well. And then you can still re-edit and revise your essay or your writing material. And in the end, you still have to hand it in to your teacher in the class who knows you, who knows your strengths, who knows your capacities, who knows whether it is your work or not. And then she will give you the utmost honest feedback because of the personal link that she has with you. So I left that meeting feeling, I still am going to be connected to the people I work with. But AI has made things so easy for getting information, for understanding, for editing, for revising, and for handing it in and getting more feedback from AI platforms before you give it into your teachers who will do further adjustments for you, right? So enhanced resource management, AI assists in resource allocation by analyzing data. Sometimes the information you get from your search engines can be so confusing. There's so much out there. But if you tell AI that I specifically only need 5 points or 10 points on this particular topic, can you assist? It does that for you. Then you can pick those topics, again, edit it, rewrite it in your words and your understanding capacity, and hand it in or work around it. AI also usually is updated with the latest information. You can ask it, what does the latest research say on the best platforms to use for autistic children? It will tell you. In the month of June 2023, these were the apps that were suggested. So you know that between June and November, there could be latest research. Now that's up to you to find out through different sources. AI has given you until June, the rest you need to do. But this is how advanced AI has become right now. Next slide, please, Kelvin. So, virtual assistants for teachers. AI-powered virtual assistants can help teachers with administrative tasks, lesson planning, suggestions for optimizing teaching methodologies. Like I discussed this earlier, it helps when you're doing your planners. For teachers, when it wants to do time management, it will tell you specific areas to work on. If there's a specific topic you're teaching which you find very challenging, like for me, math has always been challenging, literally. So if I feed into AI that I need to teach algebraic equations, what's the easiest methodology to use for children of different learning styles, it will tell you what to do, how to do, the games you can play, the content you should deliver, how you should deliver. So for teachers, it is an advantage. It gives a lot of information. Okay, accessibility and inclusivity, AI tools can be designed to assist students with diverse learning needs, which already I've covered as well. Innovative teaching tools. AI-driven technologies such as virtual reality and educational games can create immersive learning experiences, making education more engaging and fostering a passion for learning outcomes. Now, when I said about our jobs becoming scary, we might lose our jobs. When we look at AI platforms, there are some professions out there that are very excited and very happy today, and those are the computer engineers, the coding programists, those people who literally understand everything virtually, and those who design the ER learning platforms, those who are designing these platforms for the students and for the teachers, these are their jobs, right? When I went right now, again, I'm talking about Dubai, it was so mesmerizing for me to see how you could just tell a robotic Lego machine that I want you to walk 10 steps, move 10 steps ahead, and score the basket and shoot for me. And this robot actually took 10 steps forward, picked up the ball, and actually shot it into the basket hoop and scored the basket. And automatically the score changed. And I'm like, what just happened? This is just a Lego machine. How did that happen? And comes this little young boy who's 13 years old and said, hey, auntie, I programmed that. Isn't it cool? And I'm thinking, how does this child's brain even work? What are the synapses that had to be built in that brain of his to be able to program such an intricate thing? I was left in awe. I was left speechless thinking, this child has a very bright future. It's going to be doing a lot of things. Then there was another area. It was an exhibition, and it was like a 3D room with screens all around. And I stepped onto it, and as soon as I stepped onto the platform, it said, welcome to the visual learning room. Are you a visual learner? And I'm thinking, yes, I am. I love pictures. I love movement. I love color. So please click on any of the side panels on the topic you'd like to learn today. And I'm thinking, wow, okay. So I clicked on outer space because I love the solar system. And it says, which particular planet are you interested in learning about? And I said, Earth. It gave me the most beautiful areas of Earth. It told me about where the maximum number of pollution is. It gave me solutions of how to solve that. It told me how the humans are destroying the ozone layer. It gave me everything in a 3D reality where I felt I was part of the process. When it showed me the pollution, it literally felt like it's all around me. And I'm like, no, literally it felt so real. And it's like, don't cover your face. This is what you humans are doing on Earth. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so true. So learning was so meaningful for me at that moment that I'm thinking, wow, the learning opportunities are magnified and multiplied outside in these different countries. It is slowly creeping into our systems as well. Again, balance is what is very much important in these things. But because of the different kind of learning platforms outside, education is evolving. It is very much becoming more engaging to students who now cannot sit for long just listening and focusing on lectures because of the way the world is and the way the brain is developing. Today, I'm being very honest, with all due respect to all our religious gatherings, we find it difficult to focus on talks or lectures or sermons which are half an hour and beyond. But why is that? Because of the way now our bodies and minds are trained, we cannot focus on just words. We are so used to images, we're so used to using our phones and these gadgets to keep us constantly engaged that we find it difficult focusing on just a person speaking. This same things, if it was given to us in different forms, which were virtual, we understand it better. That's why now when it comes to religious occasions, we have these 3D models depicting different things which we can relate to in a better way, right? Next slide, please, Kelvin. AI, personalized learning, I spoke about that, provides feedback, offering guidance. Chatbots like ChatGPT engage students, answer questions, keeps them motivated. AI collects and analyzes data. It revolutionizes teaching and learning processes. All of this which I have discussed. I just keep giving you bullet points because a lot of us understand it better when we read and you listen at the same time, right? Different learners. Next slide, please, Kelvin. Now, the disadvantages, right? We're going to look at the disadvantages of using AI platforms, right? Kelvin, I've just managed to lose the slide. If you can just bring it back on. Or are we having a technical glitch, the AI glitch? Right, Kelvin, are you around?
Yeah, Dr. Zohraida, we had the power cut. I think it's the generator is on, I'm sure. Kelvin will sort you in a shot. Yeah, there we go.
The generator is also an AI device indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were on slide number 21. We're almost coming towards the end of the session. Don't worry, I know you might have lots of questions you want to ask. And so we're going to discuss slide number 22 now. We're going to talk about the disadvantages of using AI in schools. The biggest and most major disadvantage is the loss of human connection. I explained this earlier, right? Traditional classroom methods foster deep interpersonal relationships with students and teachers, providing emotional support and personalized guidance. These AI learning experiences lack empathy and compassion. Nobody can understand your child or your student better than the teacher working in class. When your child produces work in the word exam, when your child hands in the exam, if it's an essay writing, and if I were to look at it, I'm like, yes, this is purely the child's work, the child's ideas, the child's thoughts, the child's emotions. I can grade this much better than any app on the AI, because that AI platform is just trying to understand your child through their level of knowledge and not through their emotional attachment. Nothing can overpower the human attachment in any AI platform. Believe you me, there are things that even if you ask Siri, and even if you were to have a conversation with Siri, if you're feeling very lonely or bored, try to have this conversation with Siri. Ask it a very absurd question, and it literally tells you, are you acting stupid with me this morning? A teacher wouldn't say that to the child. A teacher would value the question and say, it's an interesting question. Let's rephrase it and try and get the correct grammar with the correct answer. That's a teacher, and that's the love the teacher will have for the child, right? Data privacy and security. AI is very scary, very scary. There was once that I was talking to a team of professionals when I had gone out for a conference, and they came up to me saying, you, Dr. Zohraida, you have done so and so and so in your life. You have done this, this, this. And I'm like, hold on a minute. How would you know all this when I haven't even shared that with anyone? They're like, oh, you just need to. Now, this I'm talking about was about 16, 17 years ago when I did not even understand these platforms really well, right? I'm not very tech savvy, and I'm happy that I'm not so gadget smart. Gradually, I know I will have to change myself with time, but I'm really happy where I am right now, right? And I don't want to pop my bubble. So this was about 17 years ago, and this person says, oh, you just type your name in the search engine on the Google platform, you're all there. All your information is there. And I'm thinking, hell no, I have not even shared my information on any platform. Forget even understanding what LinkedIn is or what Instagram. There was no Instagram at that time. I'm thinking 17 years ago. How is it that all my information is there? And quite literally, when I typed my name in the Google search engine, my whole life history was there. Literally, where I used to work, what kind of lectures I've given, what social platforms I have spoken on, what kind of educational background I have. Until date, I do not know how that information got out there. I felt so exposed that there was no data privacy anymore, and anybody and everybody can now know who I am, my identity, what I like, what I don't like. Later after that came Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, I think, was already there. And there were so many other things. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is really scary. And there was somebody, I went and said, hey, this is the last song you heard. And he's like, how would you know that? I'm like, you were on YouTube, you signed into your account, which is a Google account. Google practically is in control of our lives. It showed that the last song you were listening to was so-and-so song. And he's like, no way, are you serious? I'm like, uh-huh. Type your name on Google and look, it was showing the activity you were doing, what time, what date, where, your location, everything. Do you realize how scary these platforms are? Quite literally. And we're the ones feeding it with all this information, by the way, right? AI platforms there's no fairness in it. It's very biased. Unfortunately, if the data contains biases such as gender or racial discrimination, AI systems cannot identify these things. Or rather, it gives you only that information. For instance, if there's somebody programming this who is an atheist, or who is an anti-particular society or particular color or creed, the information it is feeding it is only for his benefits or her benefits and her thought process. So many a times the information, even right now, unfortunately, with the global crisis we're in between Palestine and Israel, if you put the information, it may not give you the reality out there, right? It will just give you as much as it has been fed with. So AI does have these kind of glitches as well, where it doesn't give you the correct information according to what you require to get, right? There's biases over there. Next platform, please. Next slide, please, Kelvin. Platform, AI platforms, right? Over independence. This is something all of us are struggling with. Like I said, Wi-Fi, WhatsApp. There's one day of no internet connection because the electrical pole kind of fell down. The systems are down. We struggle. Every minute we're looking at the phone. Do we have connection? Or has a WhatsApp come? I'm waiting for a very important email. Has the email come? We cannot live without this. All of you out there, I cannot see who you are, but I'm sure you're going to smile when I say this. Before you sleep, this is what is in your hand. And the first thing when you wake up, this is what you go for. Gone are the days when you wake up and you literally just want to stretch and say, oh, I had a good night's sleep. The first thing is like, oh my God, let me just look. Any important messages? Did my alarm ring? Are there any reminders for today? Literally, this is how our morning starts. And when we end our night, we end with it as well. Again, another chapter for another day with the damage this does when you sleep with it and when you wake up with it. But that is how much we depend on this. Today, when I want to prepare my presentations, I need internet. I need Slides Mania to give me a nice different PowerPoint presentation or organization so that I can catch the audience attention, because I want to have my audience intrigued. I need to use little information or more information depending on what it is. I look for the graphics. I try to understand different things. Everything is about depending on what is available out there. Yes, I did have interviews. I spoke to other people to get information from them as well. In the end, how am I talking to you right now? Wi-Fi connections, yeah, the Microsoft Teams platform. This is all artificial intelligence. This is how much we depend on it right now. Sometimes in a good way when you want to keep connected with people, but sometimes the over-dependency is so much in this that we don't know where to draw a fine line, right? Job displacement for educators, not only educators, I know other fields are struggling as well, like the example I gave about the immigration officers, the autopilot. We have a lot of these bullet trains right now in European countries that are actually moving just on computerized instructions without a person actually riding that train for you, or actually being physically present in the train, right? So job displacement, the automation potential of AI raises concerns about job displacements. If the robot can do all your work for you, why hire a teacher who can make mistakes sometimes, right? But I said, please do not get us out of the jobs. The human connection is what everyone out there needs, right? Okay. Lack of emotional intelligence. I've touched that already, so I'm not going to dwell on it anymore. But it does very much hinder a student's progress, because AI lacks emotional intelligence. It will not understand the student as well as the teacher would in the grading system. AI is programmed to give a particular grade, which may be, oh, I look at the work, this is just for me 66%. But the teacher looking at it and says, oh, there is so much effort this child has put in, that's definitely a 91% for me. There's a huge, huge leap between a B and an A+, or a B and an A, or a C and an A. Think about this. Accessibility and equity. AI is not accessible to all students, especially those who come from underprivileged backgrounds. It's not an app that everybody can have. Not every child today has these latest technology laptops and iPads and phones and smartphones and gadgets and these smart watches that can track things for them and do things for them, right? We talk about smart TVs, voice-controlled TVs these days. So children who have the normal TVs are like, oh, my friends have better things than I do. Overemphasis on standardized testing. A standard test is the same test that over hundreds of students have to sit for. So are you catering to the personal needs of the students, or are you catering to the personal needs of making things easy for the computer program to correct and just to collect the data and present it to you as how you want to see it? Let's think about these things. Next slide, Kelvin. So we continue with the challenges. Computing power, tolerance power, intuitive thinking, judging power. These are things that the AI totally lacks. And when I say computing power, it is us that need to program these AIs. Tolerance powers, AI, like I said, when you ask Siri questions it doesn't like or doesn't understand, it cannot tolerate you. It literally says your questions are stupid. The words they use are not words we would like our children to hear, right? Intuitive thinking, it doesn't have the ability or capacity to think differently. It only thinks in one straight manner that it is programmed in, and it cannot judge situations because it only thinks through the artificial intelligence, not the way a human would. If you were to make an AI app a judge in the court of justice, it will never give you the correct judgment. Never, for sure. Next slide, please, Kelvin. So I've been saying this, and I'm going to say it again with a bright smile on my face. Balance is key. And you are the one who's going to judge that balance. It's important to approach the integration of AI in education. That goes without a doubt, definitely, because we need to prepare today's children for tomorrow's future. It's a very unknown and scary future. We don't even know the kind of job opportunities that are going to be out there. Forget the opportunities. We don't even know what jobs exist in the future. And it is our duty to prepare today's generations for tomorrow's future. So we cannot take away AI from them completely, because unfortunately, this is the way forward for life, right? So we need to integrate AI education into schools with a balanced perspective, acknowledging both the potential benefits and challenges while considering ethical considerations and ensuring that technology serves the best interest of students and educators. Schools have the capacity and system where they can actually block certain AI platforms, and they can open and pay for certain AI platforms that are beneficial for students. So that monitoring still lies in the hands of the schools and the humans. And even when your children are using AI platforms, your students are using AI platforms, you are using AI platforms, they are guidelines and set rules that can guide us and help us move ahead with this, right? Next slide, please, Kelvin. So, suggestions on parental guide for monitoring the use of AI. I think a lot of us parents are struggling today, and a lot of us need suggestions. Now, I've only literally included 5 suggestions because I know I don't have enough time to present, discuss, and answer your questions as well. So I'm going to give you a few suggestions here. And if you want more suggestions, they are all out there. If you need to get in touch with me, I'll allow Mwanaidi to share my phone number, my email address with all of you. But here is something very fascinating I'm going to share with you. If you go on to ChatGPT, it's an AI platform, and if you type in ChatGPT, tell me the disadvantages of using your platform, of using ChatGPT, of using AI, surprise, surprise, it gives you all the disadvantages of using it. Now, when you're into the marketing world and into the marketing system, and if you want to market your product, would you ever talk about the challenges that your product has? You wouldn't, would you? ChatGPT does. And ChatGPT will also tell you why you shouldn't use it and why you should use it. So you might want to Google, put this in, and you will see that a lot of my suggestions have come from it because ChatGPT is programmed by humans, and the human itself is giving you all the disadvantages and advantages. Think about this. So, suggestions on parental guide. Next slide, please, Kelvin. So, this is very important, not just for AI, but for anything. As parents, we need to set clear boundaries. Define specific times or situations when it's appropriate for your child to engage with AI technologies. I will give you an example, a very quick one. I know laptop, phone, TV, Wi-Fi, these are very generalized examples. So I'm going to talk about the ChatGPT. There are certain scenarios that the children are presented with when they have to do research. And sometimes the scarcity of resources really leaves the children hanging in the air. Allow them to use it, but with set rules that, okay, it's going to give you a lot of information. Read through it. Don't just copy paste it. Read through it, summarize it, take that only which you feel is important, take that only which resonates with the question you have been asked, modify it with the knowledge, with the prior knowledge that you already have, and after the discussions you have with your peers and colleagues, and then write the essay in your own words, and then you hand it in. These are clear boundaries that you set, and you're still using the information and the support of AI, right? Understand the technology, parents. Take the time to understand how the AI tool works. Familiarize yourself with its capabilities, potential risks, and how it processes information. I know for parents this is going to be very difficult. For myself, I find it very hard to keep up with the world today. I'm finding it very hard to keep up with my children today. Today, when I need to kind of, for any kind of celebration, I need to do a presentation, or I need to work on a particular graphic, or do my Instagram page, for instance, for school, I reach out to my children. I tell my daughter, can you help me do this? Can you help me compile this, compose this? And she's doing things for me. She's multitasking as well. I wanted to learn how to create videos and share on social media when it comes to the work we do or come to the work I do. And I took it on as a challenge. I'm like, you know what? I want to learn this. Hey, and you know what? In half an hour, I learned how to do it. So parents, it's not impossible to keep up with your children. You just need to find the time, take the courage, and be open to take challenges. So for us now as parents, it's time for us to step out of our comfort zones. We really need to do that. If we want to keep up with our children, keep them safe, keep them within boundaries. We don't want to lose them to AI and to peer pressure and to the temptations of the 21st century. We need to befriend them and be their best friends. And this we can only do by understanding what they use and how they use, and by guiding them. Encourage responsible use. Teach your child about responsible and ethical AI use. There's a respectful and appropriate way of using these. We do not want them to get information that they don't require. So when you're interacting, the kind of questions you ask, the way you ask really matters. And that takes me to my next point on monitoring the content. Regularly check the conversations and the content. AI saves these conversations because every child at times needs to revisit, reread, and then take information. So AI stores this information for you. And if you and your child are at the level of being friends, they do not need to hide this information from you. You have the password to enter these kind of platforms as well, right? Ensure that the interactions align with your family values. Please listen to these words. The AI interaction should align with your family values and are suitable for your child's age and maturity level. You can actually feed the settings into these AI platforms as to what your family ethics are, what your child's age is, and what information you do not want your child to be accessible to. AI is programmed in this way. Yesterday, when I was looking at the teacher resources and I was looking for a particular word search out there, literally it asks me a question: what age category of word search are you looking for so we can simplify your search? And I was like, hey, that's interesting. So the same way, immediately I thought of searching up that do AI tools have these kind of restrictions and settings? And yes, bingo, they have these platforms and they have these options for parents that you can feed this in, and then you can rest assured that these are the settings that will work. However, keep revisiting, because even technical glitches are very, very common with AI. Okay, educate on online safety. This is very, very important and very scary today out there. Emphasize the importance of online safety. Remind your child not to share personal information. This is very important. Sadly, sometimes it goes very, very much beyond out of control. A very simple example: there was a person's face used and a person's voice used on somebody else's body just 2 weeks ago, talking about different things, which this person did not even mention. It was like a sabotage scheme by some competitors. It was very scary. And now, because of what has happened, and also I think an AI platform took a song from another another singer, another composer, somebody else who wrote the lyrics, and edited it and presented it as his own voice, which was plagiarism, a copyright system. So now those who are programming AI, the governments are now setting copyright rules, laws, and everything is now slowly coming because of the online safety platforms. We do not want us humans to be sabotaged by somebody using my face and my voice and saying something that I haven't. It's going to ruin myself, my personal image, my respect. And I'm not trying to feed you out there with ideas of what to do. I'm just telling you how scary it is. Hence, the governments are now actually revisiting the use of AI, and still it is allowing AI, but now there's going to be set law by the governments as well on copyright, on how you can use it. And remember, because it's AI, in the end, it can track who did these changes and who is misusing these platforms, and then people are charged against it. So educate on online safety, and in the end, you should still be there for your child every time. Next slide, please, Kelvin. So be available for discussions. Keep the lines of communication open with your children. Encourage your child to talk to you about their experiences with AI. I do that very often. And through my children, I actually learn which AI platform their school suggests to them, which is beneficial, which AI platform they should not really approach because it doesn't really help. And we all learn through our children, don't we? Right? We want to keep up with the 21st century. We have to make the effort. Stay informed. Be aware of any modifications that can help you adapt your guidance and ensure a safe and positive user experience for your child. Parental guidance and involvement play a crucial role in ensuring a safe and positive online environment for your child. Please let that sink in, resonate, understand, and implement. Next slide, please, Kelvin. I think that takes me to the last slide almost. So, in a nutshell, human intelligence uses their brain, memory, and cognitive abilities, while AI relies on data provided by the human. Here now I can say it is for you to make the decision and make the choice on how much you want to implement AI in your lives, where you want to strike the balance between AI and human intelligence, and how you want to take the journey forward for you, your family, and your children, and the generations to come. With that, I ask Kelvin to take me to my at most last slide. In the conclusion, we say that artificial intelligence is the intelligence of machines and the branch of computer science that aims to create it. AI textbooks define the field as the study and design of intelligent agents, where an intelligent agent is a system that perceives its environment and takes action that maximize the chances of its success. John, who coined the term in 1955, as I said, defines it as the science and engineering of making intelligent machines. We are the ones making these intelligent machines. It is now up to us to decide how much and how and where this is going to take us ahead. With that, I hand over to Mwanaidi. I know I've given you a lot today. I have repeated myself a couple of times. Why? Because you need to resonate with what you've heard today. It's a very vast topic. There's a lot to read and understand, and for a lot of information for us to take in. But again, I'm saying whatever is out there, even if you decide to do research on what you've heard today, take what applies to you and leave what doesn't apply to you. Don't allow yourself to get frustrated and feel overwhelmed. That's the key. That's the balance that you need to find. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zohraida. I hope I'm clear enough. Do we have any questions? Anyone who's a participant who has a question, please type it on the chat bubble. I've seen a few compliments. I love the discussion. It's interesting. But for any questions, please do the needful as well. Participants, artificial intelligence has arrived, and with it a surge of technological advancements. AI brings undeniable benefits, no doubt. It is crucial to recognize its potential drawbacks as well and strive for a balance. It has undoubtedly made our lives easier, automating tasks, providing solutions to complex problems. However, it is essential not to overlook the irreplaceable value of human expertise. Human experts possess a depth of knowledge and experience that AI cannot replicate. The guidance and insights of human beings is invaluable. So we need to go and seek also advice from human beings and strike a balance. Books are there, no doubt, providing lots of research and knowledge, wealth of perspectives, insights, and narratives that AI cannot fully capture. Remember, it's a robot, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Zohraida, and we are the ones who created it. So books foster deep understanding, they foster that, and critical thinking skills too. So as we embrace AI advancements, let us not forget that human touch and social attachment defines our existence. AI should complement, not replace human interactions and connections. Parents, I'm sure we have quite a number of parents here today. Please exercise caution and monitor your child's use of AI-powered devices and applications. The language and overall content they may encounter or generate could potentially be harmful or inappropriate. We must remember that AI is a creation of human originality. Here, we are the ones as human beings who created it. So it is our collective responsibility to ensure that it serves humans' best interests, enhancing our lives without diminishing our existence as social beings. Today, personally, I carry with me the realization that we must strike a balance between embracing technological advancements and preserving our innate human qualities. I am sure we have our own qualities, we have our skills and abilities, our creativity. AI, however, is a remarkable tool, but not a replacement for our God-given talents. It lacks the empathy and emotional intelligence that are uniquely human. Social-emotional development remains paramount. We must not diminish our essence as social beings by over-relying on AI. So there we go. That was just a summary of what I've gathered today. Thank you so much, Daktari, for that. It was a wonderful presentation. Any questions? Let me just go through. Yeah, very informative. Thank you. A nice presentation. Thank you for that. All right, there's a question, Dr. Zohraida. How is the school ensuring a balanced and ethnically sound integration of AI in education, considering aspects such as curriculum development, teacher training, student engagement, ethical consideration, resource allocation, feedback mechanisms, industry, collaboration, inclusivity, and future planning? Wow, this is a long one.
Can you please just repeat the first sentence for me? That
how is the school ensuring a balanced and ethnically sound integration of AI in education?
Yes. Now, the question itself is a very broad one because every school has a different approach. So I would not be able to decide for the schools. However, what I would suggest is, because I work across different schools and different curriculums, the school first needs to analyze the situation and visit all the student AI platforms to understand which works best in their curriculum. Like we have the IB curriculum, we have the Cambridge, we have the local government curriculum, and every curriculum has different needs. If we would identify certain AI apps that work, let's take the most common ones, the ChatGPT, the Hand Me In, the chatbots, and other ones that a lot of schools have already started using. Those are the platforms I would suggest after having coffee mornings with the parents, explaining to them why they want to implement it, after training the teachers on how to use it, how to identify if things have just been copy pasted, then having a session with the students with guidelines on how to use these platforms, and then gradually integrate these AI tools into the curriculum. It's not something that any school can just jump into. Every school meeting that I've attended over here, like last week I was at my son's school, and even they are going step by step. It's an IB school, and I love the approach because they're literally taking it on very, very slowly. What I mean is I love the approach of how they are integrating AI into the system after discussing with the students, training the teachers, taking suggestions from their teaching faculty, from the admin members, because it is an inclusive decision. The admin or the management cannot just decide for the teachers, because in the end it's the teachers, that attachment working with the students, and they would know which application would work best. So I strongly suggest that every school visits this at their own capacity, looking at their own benefits that it would bring for their curriculum, have the training sessions, see how it works ethically for them, the norms of the country that they are working in as well. All this will have to be considered before it's applied. It's a very good question, though, for all schools to think about, definitely.
Thank you. Definitely, and we know technology is advancing, and like personally, my daughter was taking up maths assignment, and she took my phone, and I asked her, "What are you using my phone?" And she says, "It's very easy. You don't know about this chat GPT, you know, AI." And they were laughing at me because one of the apps that we usually use has AI in it. And I told them, "Oh, I was wondering whether this is someone's name that I've saved here." And they were actually laughing at me. So she told me, "You know what? It's very simple. You just put this maths, you paste the question that you have, and Mama, it calculates everything for you." So believe me, it made me concerned, and I'm like, "Oh my God, we really need to look into this," especially the senior students, like you've mentioned, the university students. They do a lot of that. So yeah, so I believe there's no other question, but most of them are asking for you if you can share the presentation.
Sure.
Then maybe we can share with today's participants. It would help them. Let me see, there's something here. Someone is saying, "I'm still confused on the inclusivity aspect." Sorry, it's moved. Yeah, aspect. Perhaps the answer may not be there as yet, but care to shed some light on this if possible. Including it, inclusivity, including it.
Inclusivity when it comes to the specially abled children, or including
Yes, I am
into the
still
education?
confused. Is it including AI into education, or can this person please elaborate? Gulama, oh, it's Mr. Gulam Ali Alibai. Including the inclusivity, is it to the children who may require it, or is it including AI? I believe it's including AI,
Okay.
the
So like
inclusivity aspect, yeah.
the certain apps that we feel are going to be beneficial for students will, with time, definitely merge into every school. Already there's lots of schools globally in European countries that are using it, and slowly from Dar es Salaam where I am, I have seen schools start using it, again with a lot of guidelines. So whether I'm old school or not, yes, AI is penetrating into the education system today. It is up to us to find the balance as to how much and how and which way we want the schools to implement it, because in the end, the relationship of a school is the teacher, student, and child. So every parent has the right to voice their concerns. The students also share what they feel about it. And in the end, we all work as a triangle relationship. So the best part of schools is that we still have a voice where we can discuss concerns. But the one thing that all of us have to make peace with and accept, that education is going to take in the AI tools no matter what.
Yes, yes. And by including it, we're also going to train the students to be responsible and use it responsibly, I believe, rather than not including it also. Okay, there's another quick question here. My name is Rosie. I'm a cybersecurity professional with more focus on network and cloud security. I'm enthusiastic about AI and machine learning. I have enjoyed today's conversation. My query is, how exactly can we go about the fact that the more we use AI, we make ourselves susceptible to data breaches, which, of course, will leverage by threat actors. Yeah, so that's a concern.
So as we say, practice what you preach. So I'm going to give you a suggestion, which honestly I have not implemented myself. When we talk about privacy and being exposed to misuse of our information outside, when initially I wanted to open my Instagram account just to share the work I do, you will still notice on my page, I do not put personal photographs or places I've visited or where I'm going. I do not like sharing my personal life with the world. The personal life part of mine that I share is still my work, my talks, the conferences I attend, and those kinds of things. However, I know of people who are foodie lovers, and they only use their Instagram page to share good restaurants, pictures of food, and what kind of authentic Indian food or Chinese food. I'm giving this example because I feel all of us can just relate to it. And this page literally just had food items, and I messaged the person because I know the person. I'm like, why does your Instagram page just talk food? And she's like, well, because I know that Dar es Salaam has a lot of nice eateries, and a lot of us look for these things. And since we really don't look at these catalogs and yellow pages anymore, I'm just trying to make it accessible and easy to reach out. I said, would you not want to talk about you visiting the restaurants? Don't you want to put a picture of the food you have eaten? So people, they say we believe what we see. And she's like, no, I don't need to disclose myself. I don't need my face out there. So you see what she did for herself. She set boundaries of safety. The same way, if we want to save ourselves from these cyber crimes, we need to have boundaries, like I said, balance of how much of your information you really want to put out there. Why do you want to, okay, I'm saying this, but again, I have put my information out there. Why do you want people to know you're single? Okay, why do you want people to know your birth date? Why do you want to know, why do you want to let people know your citizenship? Why do you want to let people know what your next destination is that you're traveling to, in what month, and why you want to visit the place? And there are people who say, oh, I'm in love, and this, I'm in a relationship, and oh, I tried a new brand, how do I look? And they post it out there. Why? I mean, if you want to keep yourself safe from all the challenges out there on cyber, have the fine line. You know what is happening right now is everybody wants to be the social media influencer. Now, when you want to become an influencer, you're opening all threats. And so if you want to be an influencer, you need to make peace with the amount of threats coming your way. So I literally feel it's an individual decision of how much of your information you really want to put out there and how you want to use these platforms. But since you're in the field, I think you really well know what I'm talking about. And I know that people like you will actually come up with guidelines for us lay people of how much to give and how to avoid the cyber threats. I really hope you come up with something like that soon for all of us.
Okay, the same question on including it in the school system. Again, it's asked especially for the specially abled children. How are we going to actually have it for the specially abled children, maybe? So maybe if you can touch a brief on that, yeah.
Definitely. So again, I relate to personal experiences. I think this was about 8 years ago when I attended an autism conference in Dubai. I met Karim, who is a world-renowned speaker who is autistic, and I was amazed at how he spoke. And unfortunately, the name has slipped out of another autistic specialist, and he introduced us to something which left me again intrigued. So autistic children struggle with listening to instructions, focusing, understanding, and doing things independently. As parents, we would be scared and worried to even leave them alone, right? But you know the VR glasses that we have just recently come to know, to use, and to see things through? The first VR set that was designed for a different purpose was actually designed by a team for autistic children. Okay, now when you put this on, the image it gives you is how autistic children can see things. And I don't know how they captured that, if they've done brain scans of the, or because some autistic children have got coping mechanism and coping tools, and they're talking to these professionals that I can see the road in this manner, I can see instructions in this manner. So they designed these glasses that an autistic child put on and started giving an instruction. So this child could hear instructions through the pair that he wore, and he could see the road the way an autistic child would see it. And the instructions that the mother fed into the glasses were, take John to grandma's house on so-and-so street. And now the glasses, after you put it on and you activate it, it told the child, okay, John, open your house door and take 2 steps down. Now, simple instructions, and John followed. And then it told John, keep walking straight and keep walking until you see a green tree. And John kept walking. And John says, I see tree. These are how autistic children talk, or the keywords that are fed into the system. And then the glasses, the computerized artificial intelligence tells John, okay, now you need to turn right. And if John didn't understand instructions, the AI intelligence would say, you need to turn 90 degrees, because autistic children are very smart in different aspects. So John was really good with math. He knew the 90-degree angle on the right, and he went. So this is how this was designed. And John actually reached grandma's house with artificial intelligence without human support. So the way you include this in schools, like I said, is individualized education plans. The disadvantage is these things are expensive, but the advantage is that if you apply for these things and you explain the status of the school or the country you come from, these equipments are available to the extent they can even come and train you on how to use these things. So AI in the positive way has evolved for the children who have learning challenges. I don't like saying disabilities, but for the specially abled children, AI tools has made life easier for them. So yes, I personally as an educator strongly believe that these tools should be integrated in schools specifically and specially for these children, and allowing the usage of this to normal streams as well, because AI is taking over the world. But again, how much do we allow it is what really matters.
Mm-hmm. There's one quick question. What are the types of AI? A parent is asking. I believe this is Baba Manal. What are the types of AI?
So again, there's very different kinds of AI, artificial intelligences out there. Our mobiles are artificial intelligence. Google is artificial intelligence. Robots, your microwave, your ovens, the refrigerators we use, the simple Tesla cars as well are now artificial intelligence. So it's broad. It's a very vast terminologies, but in a nutshell, it's all about the computerized scientific technology out there. It's all about the computer engineers. Like I said, it's all in a branch of science. That's what artificial intelligence is.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Zohraida. On behalf of Jaffery Academy Mombasa and the webinar participants, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to you for delivering an exceptional and thought-provoking presentation on artificial intelligence. This was a topic that we all sat and felt, no, we need something. You know, it's here, we have to understand it, and I know we still have a long way to go, hopefully, and I'm sure now we've sparked the interest in the participants for them to even go gather more information. So your expertise and passion for the subject definitely was evident throughout the presentation. Seamlessly navigated complex concepts and presented them in a clear and informative manner. We appreciate that. The impact of your presentation will surely extend for beyond the confines of this webinar. Your words have sparked new ideas, ignited curiosity, and inspired us to further explore the field of AI. We are deeply grateful for your willingness in sharing your knowledge and expertise with us. Thank you so much for the exceptional, all the way from Mombasa to Dar. To our valued participants today, we hope to have you join us for upcoming webinar. At Jaffery Academy, we empower minds and build confidence. Thank you for your engagement and participation. And to our school management, Mrs. Nilam Jiwa, in fact, it's Mrs. Nilam Jiwa who introduced me to you. When I thought of having these webinars, I wish to thank her wholeheartedly and even to the management board, KSI Education Board, KSI Jamaat. Thank you so much for this. To our ICT team, I cannot forget Mr. Kelvin, and all the other organizers. I might not have mentioned them, but wholeheartedly we thank you. Thank you so much, Daktari. And
Sure.
inshallah, have a lovely weekend, everyone. If you don't have any other question, maybe you may free to leave. Looking at any, I'm not seeing any other question. One only has asked for your LinkedIn page. So
if you type Dr. Zohraida Karim in Google, it just gives you everything.
okay,
AI.
thank you.
If anybody needs my email address, my contact number, Miss Mwanaidi has it, and I don't mind.
And we will share
as soon as I can.
Thank you so much. And definitely we will be sharing a feedback form to the participants. I think last time we did that. And we will share the other details that they've requested, inshallah. Thank you so much. Have a lovely afternoon and a lovely weekend. To the participants, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
All right.